In order to attend a ball at the royal palace, a young maiden requires the help of her fairy godmother, a pumpkin, and a few mice in Cinderella.
Hi, I'm Kate Blanchett. You're watching Maiden Hollywood, and this is a scene from Cinderella.
Whoa, 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 whoa! Run, quickly, or they'll catch you. Go.
It's one of our childhood fairy tales. It's one of our favorites. You got to actually experience being her in real life. What was that like for you?
It was crazy. It was sort of a mixture of feelings because at times I'd be totally, paralyzed by this fear of living up to expectations, and at other times I just felt so totally like the luckiest girl in the world.
Where is he now? Miss, hold on! Whoa, whoa, whoa! Are you all right?
I'm all right, but you've nearly frightened the life out of him.
Who?
The stag.
But we're hunting, you see. It's what's done.
Just because it's what's done doesn't mean it's what should be done.
You're right. I hope to see you again, miss.
It felt like such a fairy tale to shoot because the sets were all built and real, and the actors I was working with and the costumes, it was really magical.
I think what I love about the film is it's a really beautiful classic retelling of the story. It's got all the bangs and whistles that you want. It hasn't got some sort of modern contemporary twist. The twist is that you get to know these storybook characters, and I think that that's what makes it feel contemporary because there's a psychological realism. Ragged servant girl
is what you are, and that is what you will always be.
I have always wanted to know what provoked the stepmother to be so cruel.
Well, obviously it's the story of Cinderella, and there's various different mother figures, daughter figures, sisters in the film, and so you have to know what your role is. But I said to Ken Branagh early on, I said, I want to just, without adding extra scenes, it'd be great if we can see early on the stepmother's relationship to Cinderella, where the jealousy is born.
Wake up, Your Royal Highness, you're in a daze.
It's that wonderful girl. I can't stop thinking about her. I think in this version we get to see him in lots of different ways. You get to see him as a son, and as a friend, and as a soldier, and as a prince to Cinderella. We got to kind of put a lot more layers onto him.
There shall be held a royal ball.
It's like being in a fairy tale. I mean, because we didn't use lots of CGI, we built that ballroom set, which was huge, and there's 600 dancers in costumes and 2,000 lit candles in the scene. So when Cinderella appears at the top of the stairs, it's kind of no acting required. It does take your breath away.
A prince is not free to follow his heart. He must marry for the good of the kingdom.
What on earth have you been doing?
Dreaming, that's all.
Well then, wake up!
Cinderella has experienced immense grief, so has the stepmother, but it doesn't bond them. It places them in competition with one another, at least from the stepmother's point of view.
It's you, isn't it?
Just so.
The dress glows.
Yes.
So is that something that happened in post? Was it on set? Was it lighting? Was the fabric iridescent?
Sandy Powell provided layers and layers and layers of material, many of which were sort of two-tone and had sparkle in them. Then they sewed sequins into them. Then Harris Zambalukas, our cinematographer, lit it with all sorts of spotlights so that it both moved, it was moving and had light anyway. Then he lit it. Then occasionally we did a little CGI enhancement here and there, but not much, not much. Then Lily James wears it, which already does something to it, so she makes it come alive because she's, she sort of lives the character.
What my lights were Swarovski crystals, thousands and thousands of them stuck. So when, just like the slipper now, when the light hit the crystals, it would sort of glow.
It was months and months and months of tests, retests, remake, back on. Lily, do it again. Run up and down. Now do it with the high shoes. Now the low shoes. Okay. Now the glass shoes. Okay. Now one layer less. It was like a trial and error. It was like being at NASA with a spacecraft or something. Just Cinderella's dress.
Remember, at the last stroke of midnight, the spell will be broken, and all will return to what it was before.
The theme of the film is derived from the advice that Cinderella's mother gives to her, and that is to have courage.
And
be
Hayley
kind.
Atwell is so affecting as the mother. She's really beautiful.
Yes, she is. I want to know, what is the best advice that you've always tried to instill in your children, into your 3 boys, since you are a mother yourself?
I think it's the thing of walking in other people's shoes, and that you deal with people. Don't always assume that, if people are being cruel, that you've got to see what's behind the behavior.
Keep that girl out of sight, and you and your daughters will get whatever you desire.
Someone like that doesn't just vanish.
I have to see her again.
A major theme of the film is derived from the advice that Cinderella's mom gives to her, and that is to have courage and to be kind. What is the best piece of advice that your parents have given you?
You know, eat your vegetables and don't speak until spoken to is probably what I got.
They, as I think probably Cinderella's parents might have said, was just never sort of, never try and put yourself above other people, but also remember that you're just as good as other people, and it's just, and be kind, think of others, think of others, it's a good thing.
Are you looking for this? Must be quite a story to go with it.